Okay, so you just finished your desktop Guardian build and you want to get to having some fun with it, but one thing that we have to do first off is align the servo horns. Now the servo horns, they have these little gear patterns on the inside of them and on the actual stub that the servo horn goes onto. But you know, where is 90 degrees? We don't know at start, and what we really don't want to do is manually turn these servos because that could strip the gears. So what we're going to do instead is, with the batteries in the robot, we're going to power it up for a few moments. And so what's going to happen in that first few moments of power up is it's going to 90 degrees center all of the servos. So now we can turn the power off by pulling the power plug again. And now we can go in there and put these servo horns on so that they're at a 90 degree angle to the two trigger mechanisms. And then also what we're going to want to do is pop off the actual turret itself, and now that it's at 90 degrees, press it on so that we've got a nice clean 90 degree to the robot position. Now, once that's done, we can go in there with our micro screws and tighten everything down, and so that it won't fall apart when it's operating. Now, as a little tiny side note here, in the source code, there's something called a offset. Now we have a sweep offset and a trigger offset. What does that mean? It's a small offset for the variable that controls the degree and angle, so that because some of these servo horns don't always hit a perfect 90 degrees when you put those gears on, you can muck around with that little offset. It's called S offset and T offset. S offset for sweep offset and T for trigger offset. Now, playing around with those, if you're not finding you've hit a perfect 90 degrees on both of these servos, you can play with that, re-upload the source code, do this step over again, and then everything will be in good alignment for when you actually do your first setup on it. Okay, so now we're going to load the rubber band cannon, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn the power on. Now it's going to find its 90 degree center for both the trigger mechanism and the barrel. And so what we're going to do now is, with this one at its 90 degree, we can come in here and loop a rubber band onto the trigger, push the trigger down, and stretch it across the front of the barrel. Same exact thing on the other one. Hold the trigger down as you're stretching it across the barrel and putting it on. Now the desktop Guardian is armed and ready to go. We've got the desktop Guardian loaded with rubber bands now. It's currently in mode 0, which is its load mode, and we're going to tell it to go to mode 1. Mode 1 is its scanning and learning mode, which takes it from 30 degrees to 150 degrees in 30 degree chunks, scanning, learning, and then memorizing those distances so that it knows its environment. We do that simply by clicking this button on the side. That will tell it to go into mode 1. 30 degrees, learn, memorize. Once it's done scanning its environment, it's going to now go back and forth into mode 2, which is looking for changes in that environment. If I step in front of the robot, it's going to fire rubber bands at me. So that is a successful detection of a change or a shift in the distance that the sonar is reading. It's detected movement or something moving through its environment, and it's fired rubber bands at it. As soon as that's done, it's going to go back to mode 0 so that you can reload it. Sonar can be a little finicky. Theoretically, these sonar packages detect in a 15-degree arc from center point, so they should be fairly accurate in the middle, but things like tabletops or other environmental things that might change to the left or right of it, all those things can factor into the accuracy of sonar. Even just a little bit of a tilt can change how it can be and how accurate it can be, or sometimes misfire, even still. So one thing that you can do is you can play around a little bit with the tilt of the sonar package, and you be creative. Use a double-sided sticky tape or a little hot glue or who knows what. Stand it off from the plastic a little bit, pull it back a little bit, tilt it. Find that fine tuning point where it becomes accurate and works really, really well.